Hey everybody, how are you doing? Hope that you have had an amazing week and that you are seeing amazing growth in your business. Tonight's topic is going to be talking about growing a Facebook group because I have just a teeny tiny bit of experience with doing that. And, you know, one of the things that, um, you know, I'd like to talk to you about is building a Facebook group, building a platform, building a tribe, because that is where a lot of our clients end up coming from. A lot of people get onto social media and we are concerned with getting clients because it's, at least for a lot of small business owners, can be a source of getting new clients. And hey, Patty, good to see you. So the trick then becomes, how do I get clients using social media? And for a lot of people, building our networks, building our relationship online is how we grow our businesses. And it is about getting that platform, building that know, like, and trust factor with people so that you can then start to get sales. And I wish I could say it's easy. I wish I could say it's super fast, 1, 2, 3, click, click, click. What I can tell you is that it's a lot like the tortoise and the hare, especially if you're not having to do paid ads. You can do it entirely organically, and you can do it without having to pay a ton of money for expensive ads. You can do it so that your business grows organically. You get a steady, reliable source of clients. And to me, that's really an amazing way to grow a business. Slow, steady, kind of like the tortoise, not quite like the hare. Because when we're growing our business steadily and we're seeing that continual growth in our businesses, that's when we start to really, really have a lot more success, and where things really start to work out a lot better. So tonight, we're going to be talking about exactly how I grew the Women's Entrepreneur Network. And I'm also going to send you a link to register for the Build Your Tribe Challenge, which is a 8-day workshop where we go over in depth all of the steps that I took to grow a Facebook group and to grow this group. We're also going to talk about the good, the bad, the ugly of the things that I did in order to grow a group. Because, face it, anybody can sit here and tell you what they did. Follow my process, my 3-step process. It's super easy. Do these things, and you're immediately going to see a rate of return. And I can tell you what steps to take, but I can also tell you where the pitfalls are and where things tend to not go so well. So for instance, one of the things that I see a lot with people is, that they have a basically dead Facebook group, and they really, really struggle with getting views. They really struggle with getting attention. They really struggle with getting people into the group. Once they've gotten people into the group, they really, really struggle with, how do I get these people to engage with me so that I can build the know, like, and trust factor with them to help them grow their businesses. And I'm going to drop the link in here so that you guys can see it. And I mean, this is pretty standard stuff. You start growing it and you start to see people add, and then it's all crickets. And in fact, I will say that that is one of the problems that I had in this group. I got the group to start growing and I would put amazing content into the group. And it took me a while to figure out what kinds of content I needed to put into the group to actually see a bit of engagement coming back. I'll give you a hint. And this is one of the things that we talk about in the Build Your Tribe Challenge. And this is a free workshop, by the way. What I learned is that it had nothing to do with me and everything to do with the people who are in the group. And as soon as I completely shifted my approach to how I was putting content into the group, how I am putting content now into this group, how I interact with people, I realized that it has very little to do with me and everything to do with you and what you want to get out of the group. So we're giving you the knowledge, we're giving you the information, we're giving you the resources that you want to get out of the group. And that's where you start to see that engagement starting to happen, because people then have a reason to want to come and hang out, and you're giving them a reason to actually want to respond. Now, one of the other things that you have to remember is that people are very happy to talk about themselves and do silly things, but getting people to actually talk about things that are more in-depth, things that are harder to talk about, things that are more challenging, sensitive topics, can really lead to a lot more challenge with that level of trust overall, because you have to build a higher level of trust with your audience before they're going to talk about more sensitive topics. The more focused you are on building that level of trust with people, the more likely they are to be willing to have those types of conversations with you. And hey, Jackie, good to see you. So how do we get it to the point where people are willing to have those kinds of, interactions with you, that they're actually likely to respond to something that's a little bit more in depth, right? That is a process of building know, like, and trust. And it can take as many as 20 to 30 impressions or more before they'll even might kind of sort of consider interacting with you. One of the biggest misconceptions I see in groups is that if somebody is not being super active, they are, people will sometimes want to remove others from the group. And hey, Tracy, good to see you. And I am firmly against actually removing people from the group that aren't as active. And part of that is because you cannot force somebody out of their shell. You can't force somebody to respond. And forcing them to respond, or attempting to force them to respond, is just going to push them away. It's not going to draw them in closer to you. It's not going to help them trust you any faster. So when you're trying to force people to respond, and you're trying to get, basically say, hey, you either have to participate or you're out of here, unless it's a paid program, people aren't going to respond very well to that. Most people in the online world are just going to leave. You're never going to get a chance to even sell to them and build that know, like, and trust factor with them, because you already threw down the gauntlet with them, and they're like, yeah, I don't already know you from Adam. I don't trust you enough. I'm going to leave. And the reality in the online world is, as I heard somebody say the other day, there's the people who are ready buyers, the Insta buyers. But then there's people who are, your slow cookers, you're very, very slow cookers, and you're very, very, very slow cookers. And I have found that to be true. I have found it can take people 3, 6, 9 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years, even up to 5 years before somebody is comfortable even having a consultation call with me to learn more about what it is that I can do to help them with their business. Because it has taken a lot of impressions. It takes a lot of contact before somebody actually knows what we can do to help them. So it's not an instantaneous process. So when we start getting concerned about engagement, understand that people are going to react before they're going to do anything else. So this is a really good question. Isn't there a difference between being inactive or simply being silent? Inactive to where they didn't visit is far different from lurkers or wallflowers. Yes, but you cannot really tell which one somebody is on Facebook. I can't look at somebody's profile. I can't really look at somebody's profile or a listing of their membership in the group or any of the group activity logs. If somebody just comes in and reads something and leaves, I can't tell them any different from somebody who is completely inactive in the group, unfortunately. There's not a good way to tell that. Now, I can tell who's reacting to things. I can tell if somebody is liking stuff. I can tell if somebody is clicking on things. But if they're not actively clicking on stuff and leaving reactions on things or comments on things, you really don't have the information that you need to determine if they're just being a wallflower versus they're just being inactive. Now, I will say Facebook does give you a small hint. If a user ID has been inactivated, then they will show that up in a specific list in your membership group. So you do have the opportunity to get rid of people whose user IDs have been inactivated either temporarily or permanently, which can be good. But if you're thinking about getting rid of people because they're not responding to you enough, especially if you have a smaller group, I wouldn't do it, because honestly, you're pushing people away who may eventually become really cool clients. I have had more than a few people who have circled me for 3, 6, 9 months, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years before deciding to become a client, before they reach that level of comfort, before they would even comment on one of my posts. These are people who are circling around, who are like, yeah, I've been following you for 2 years, and I never even commented on a post before now. I never even reacted to a post of yours before now, because I wasn't too sure. I've been burned in the past by other coaches. I've been burned in the past by other people. So know that that can be a thing with social media. So, you know, Facebook doesn't give us almighty insights into absolutely every single thing. We only can make the best decisions that we can on the information that we have. And I will tell you, this is my own personal experience. This is my own personal experience with building Facebook groups based on my knowledge, my background, my education, you know, and understanding some of the behavioral psychology behind some of it, and giving people a bit more grace. Now, my personal perspective is that we give people quite a bit of grace, especially in the online world, because it's really difficult to build trust. It's difficult to read intent. So the more grace that people get, the more space that they get, the more of a loving environment that they get, the more likely they are to eventually respond and react and eventually come in to the fold. And I mean, I'm not sitting here telling you it's going to be easy, or it's going to be fast. Like I said, some people I know for a fact have circled me for 2 or more years before they would even like or react on a post, before they would even engage with something that I was doing. So understand that that is one of the interesting dynamics with social media, especially if you're building a following or you're building a group. A lot of people will read your stuff very silently for a long time until you manage to provoke a reaction. And you want to be careful about how you're provoking a reaction, because provoking a reaction can be that you're drawing them in closer and you're intriguing them and pulling them in closer. Provoking a reaction can also have the opposite effect, right? You can be propelling people by just saying, hey, if you don't interact in this group, I'm going to ditch you out of here. And if that's how you want to do business, you can do business that way. I will tell you that that tends to not be is successful for a lot of people. Hey, Marilyn, happy to have you here. And I feel you. I was late tonight because I've been having computer gremlins and internet connectivity gremlins tonight. So I feel you. So, you know, when we start talking about the how did I grow a Facebook group to this size, a lot of it has to do with the engagement. A lot of it has to do with getting people into the group and keeping people into the group. So one of our things that we talk about here in the Women's Entrepreneur Network is getting people into business and keeping them in business, because you know, anybody can get into business for themselves, but the statistics show that a lot of businesses fail because of lack of clients, because of lack of cash flow. And one of the things that I try to do personally as somebody who is a marketing strategist is show you strategies that consistently tend to work for most types of businesses. And one of those, from my perspective, is a Facebook group. Facebook groups can be a huge cash cow, a huge lead generation option. And we have a lot of ways that potentially we can generate income from a Facebook group. So let's talk about that, right? Obviously, if you have a Facebook group, you can do partnerships, you can do affiliates, you can sell your own products and services, you can sell ad space, you can do all kinds of different things to grow your business and to generate other multiple streams of revenue. And I know that a lot of people are really, really concerned about the multiple streams of revenue in their business. And I think that a Facebook group can be a really great way to do that. We're going to talk in the Build Your Tribe Challenge about how to get that first 300 to 500 people into your Facebook group. We're going to be talking about group quality. We're going to be talking about the things that I did beyond the first 300 to 500 people to get people into the group. I'm going to explain some of the Facebook algorithms and how they work currently from what I have seen and observed, not only in this group, but in other groups as well as they have started to grow. And I'm going to be talking a lot about ways to monetize a Facebook group. We're also going to have a couple of days where we're talking about fixing group engagement. We're going to be talking a lot about fixing a broken group because a lot of people get really, really frustrated with Facebook groups. And we're also going to be talking about the $1 million mistake that I made when I was building this group. And trust me, it's a doozy. And, you know, I have lost a lot of money or not made a lot of money on certain things because I made a couple of key and critical mistakes in the growth of this group. So I'm going to share some of that information with you as well so that you can understand why it was a mistake, how it was a mistake, and what you can do to prevent it for yourself and avoid it from an earlier stage. So if you haven't registered yet, register for the Fiercely Marketing Build Your Tribe Challenge. It's going to be amazing. And I think that you're going to find it very, very much worth your time. I am going to post the links here so that you guys can register. So everybody can register for the Build Your Tribe Challenge because, you know, honestly, I want everybody to have the best possible opportunities with our business. And the cool thing is with building a Facebook group is that you can do this entirely organically, or you can use paid ads and challenges to get people into your group. The cool thing is that there's no one right way to do it, but there's several different ways that will work depending on your own personality, your own desire for growth, your own personal needs. And I really think that every business is a lot like our own unique DNA or fingerprints, right? We each have unique fingerprints. We each have unique DNA. So do our businesses. And finding the way to do that for ourselves is huge. And making sure that we're doing that for ourselves and growing our businesses in a way that works for us is tremendous. And also, if you're just really curious about how I did it, just register and do the workshops. We do start on Monday, October 5th. It's all virtual. It's all classes that are going to be taught live in the Build Your Tribe Challenge group. And we are going to be covering a ton of amazing topics during that time. Like I said, we're going to be covering getting people into the group. We're going to be talking about social media and what you can post in the group to increase engagement. We're going to be talking about improving your engagement. We're going to even be doing some hot seats and some other really, really cool things during the Build Your Tribe Challenge. So I hope that you will register. Now I'm going to go on to something that is kind of a tradition that I do most Sunday nights, and that is pulling a card out of the Love Your Inner Goddess card deck by Elena Fairchild. So I will ask y'all if you would prefer the top or the bottom or some other card. And I'll give you a second to respond while I shuffle the cards. And I assure you, I am actually sitting here shuffling cards. They're such big cards that I have a hard time actually shuffling them like I would a traditional card deck because they're like as big as my hand. I love these too, Marilyn. They're a lot of fun. So we have the top card here, number 12. Is that the top or the bottom? Ninth from the top or ninth from the bottom? Okay, so here's the top card. This one is Princess Savior. Even if you feel uncertain about facing a challenge, believe in yourself. You are strong enough to conquer this. There will be help if you need it, but you already have the inner resources required to overcome any obstacle and attain the most blessed outcome. If you are in the process of letting go something or someone, perhaps an old habit, an old way of life, a relationship or a situation in which you have felt trapped, don't allow insecurity or uncertainty to stop you. You've got this and you're doing the right in moving on. So this is the top, and then I'll pull one out of the middle. Arp. Oh, that's an interesting one. 37. I'm going to take that banner down real quick. And it should come as no surprise to y'all that I have a sore throat today and my voice is hoarse. I don't know how that could happen. This is Psyche. You are going to find the exact help that you need at the exact times that you need it. You have the ability to attract resources and even to create something out of apparently nothing. Don't put your focus or your faith in the material world and its seemingly endless obstacles and difficulties. Direct your attention and your trust towards our all-powerful and unconditionally loving universe, which is your friend and teacher. When you do this, you empower the universe to help you, and it really wants to in the most amazing ways. So there we go. We got the middle and we got the top. So I hope that y'all have an amazing night. I will see you guys tomorrow as part of my Ask Haley series. Enjoy, have blessed rest. And Patty, isn't it fun when the card readings hit a nerve for us and they feel like they were just chosen for us? I think that every single one of these has kind of a little bit of that aspect to it and a little bit of that wisdom that just shows up when we need. So thank you, Tracy. It's good to see you. And thank you, Andrea. And everybody, have a fabulous night. We will talk soon. Thanks. Bye-bye.